The Snows of Kilimanjaro is a 1950s drama about a guy called Harry who's dying at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. That's what we're covering this week on the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Yes, my name is Harry, and I am going to be climbing Kilimanjaro. And I'm joined by my co-host, not guest host, Shane Mulvaney. Shane, how are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good, Harry. Hopefully it's not an ominous portent of doom. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that that's what the plot of the movie was. I certainly didn't know that Gregory Peck played a character called Harry, who, yes, is dying at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro, recounting his life. That is the plot of this movie. And the reason that we're covering it is because, funnily enough, I am climbing Kilimanjaro as of when this goes out for charity. I'll link the link in the YouTube description for the donations page. It's for the Jack and Jill Foundation, which is a children's charity in Dublin. But yeah, that's why we're doing this episode this week, is because when this goes out is when I'm climbing Kilimanjaro. Did not know that this movie was about a guy called Harry who fucking fails to do so. Well, I don't think he attempted to summit Kilimanjaro, but he is very much dying at the base of Kilimanjaro. Yeah. In a spoiler-free review, Shane, what are your thoughts on the Snows of Kilimanjaro?
Let's just say I really respect that boy SLC's recommendations. Usually,
Of course, yeah.
but I'm afraid,
Yeah.
sorry mate, but you've steered us in the wrong path on this one, because I thought this was terrible. I thought this was really, really bad.
Yeah. In fairness, I think the reason that they were recommending it is because
it's
the name
Kilimanjaro.
is
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro and it's
Yeah.
set at Kilimanjaro. Yeah, I also am not a huge fan of this film. Can't lie. Spoiler-free review. I think this is going to be a episode akin to Under Capricorn and the Paradine Case and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where you are actually just going to hear us basically slag a movie rather than talk about, discuss, analyze, or praise a movie. Because, yeah, there's a lot to be said about this movie. Most of it's not great. Shane, if you could say one nice thing about the Snows of Kilimanjaro, what is one random nice thing that you would say about this movie?
Ava Gardner. It's got Ava
Okay,
Gardner.
cool.
Any film with Ava Gardner, and it's instantly at least 1 star for me. So she's like a star more than I would have given it, just because she's so beautiful. So yeah, she's Ava Gardner.
Fair. Yeah, I like the opening shots of Kilimanjaro, but I also don't know if you can get a bad shot of Kilimanjaro.
That's true.
It's like, oh, you're shooting this really beautiful landmark. This is the tallest mountain in Africa, and it's all majestic and has snow on top. How are you gonna make that shot look bad? You know, like it looks lovely. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
And the opening narration as well had me set up like, oh, okay, right, it's setting the stakes, and it's like it seems like it's going to be kind of a sweeping kind of drama, like kind of it's going to be
Opens with a riddle.
Yeah, and it's saying Kilimanjaro is 19,710 feet to the summit. And it's giving all these facts about Kilimanjaro. I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going. And then, it's not great.
And it mentions that a leopard attempted to get to the summit and died, and its carcass is frozen, remained there. And the question of the riddle is, how did it get there? How did it get to that altitude, and why was it there? But that is, in parts, what this film is about when it comes to Gregory Peck's character. But I can't lie. First of all, this film's really boring. It's very long, and Gregory Peck, I feel like this podcast is not doing Gregory Peck justice.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah, it's not.
We've covered probably the handful of Gregory Peck films that aren't good, which is just terrible because he's a great actor.
Spellbound. The Paradine Case, and now this
Paradine Case.
At least we got Roman Holiday in there, so that makes up for it.
Yeah, of course, and he's amazing in that. But I can't lie. His like dying monologue, which is like present day in the film, which is we just keep flashing back to uninteresting stories. But the only thing I can say is that his performance kind of, from the get-go, his performance reminds me of if Squidward was to be cast in a movie and then to try and act in a movie. It's very dramatic Squidward
Yeah.
with the voice and just, yeah, it's just so over the top dramatic.
Yeah, it's very
Uh,
it's very like affected, and I don't mean that in a
yes,
good way. It's very like you can tell he's putting on a performance where he
it
shouldn't be
feels
because
so fake.
yeah, because the guy is dying. That's the whole point of
Yeah,
his character. He's dying, so he shouldn't be putting on a performance. He should be like coming from his bones almost. But
yeah,
yeah, I could just tell he was. Yeah, I don't think it was a good performance from Abigail Gregory, unfortunately.
yeah. It's a
Like at
real
least in the
shame.
past, with the films of his that weren't good. Like I don't think Party Case is bad because of him. I don't think Spellbound is mediocre because of him. I think they're just kind of just because of the story, really. But I think a big
Hmm.
part of the story I didn't like this film it was because of Gregory Peck. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I can't lie. His character is very unlikable. The film itself, there's nothing less cool than a film that tries to be cool.
Yeah,
And there's scenes in like a jazz bar where this film tries to be cool, and I'm using this word purposefully to make it sound cringe because it is. It's trying to be hip. They're trying to have these like groovy conversations in this jazz club about poetry and about philosophy, and it's so surface level and boring. He's also just a straight up misogynist.
yeah,
This film obviously hasn't aged very well, but other characters are worse than him. But even Harry himself in this film is just not pleasant
no,
to women other than Cynthia, and even still, uh, you could argue that there's things that happen between him and Cynthia that definitely aren't his fault and are a result of terrible communication, but that just makes neither of them seem likable. Yeah, this film doesn't really work for me at all, if I'm honest. First and foremost, we'll just get into the basic premise. So this man is dying. He's at Kilimanjaro, the base of Kilimanjaro. There's a few Tanzanian men who are there helping him, although they don't speak a word of English, and he speaks very little of their language, so he himself can't understand everything they're saying, but he seems to grasp most things. And he's with his wife, Helen, who from the off you can tell he just doesn't particularly like. And then we just spend the film on this man's deathbed with him as he recounts his previous exes. This film was a huge success at the box office the year it came out, and supposedly films like this and Gone with the Wind that are just these big, drawn out dramas about these relationships and how people live their lives, but like not in an interesting way, were a big hit. And yeah, this movie made money, but there is a reason that you probably haven't heard of this film unless you are one of the few people, or not one of the few people, but one of the people who are maybe listening who are like really, really, really into 50s American cinema. And that is because it's not a film that's aged well. It's a boring film from a time gone by where, for some reason, films like this, like Under Capricorn as well, were just the trend, and they aren't anymore, thankfully. Because yeah, this is a boring ass film that did really well for its time.
at least it's got Leo G. Carroll as well. It's always good to see
Yeah,
Leo
sound the
G.
alarm.
Yeah, Leo
Sound
G.
the
Carroll.
alarm. He's here. He's back, which I think now puts him first all time for podcast appearances. I think he's now first as a result of this movie. So good for you, Leo G. Carroll, who plays Uncle Bill,
Yeah,
who is just obsessed with shooting rhinos. Even on his deathbed, all he wants is for his nephew Harry to go and just kill some rhinos, man. Just shoot those rhinos. Go hunting, man. Go hunting. I know there's meant to be some like philosophy and metaphor into like exploring and stuff, but he did also literally buy him a gun to shoot those rhinos
yeah,
with. So
yeah. But coming back to what you were saying about the kind of epic, kind of grand. It's going for like an epic, grand kind of nature. Like it's going for some of the shots are beautiful of like the kind of local kind of uh, nature, if you want to call it that, around Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
But then it's also bringing in stuff like the French Syrian conflict, about the Spanish Civil War. So it's like it's trying to be
It's
this
trying to
kind
be
of
one of those globe-trotting epics that you hear about.
exactly, yeah, that's taken in all corners of the globe. But at no point there is one scene I will say where Cynthia is under fire, and like it's shot pretty well, and it's pretty dramatic, and it's yeah, it's like really dangerous and stuff, and it's very violent. That stuff is good, but like other than that, I don't think even when it goes for like the kind of dramatic stakes when it comes to like
Yeah, the one thing I will say about that one scene that you said is Gregory Peck shouting "stretcher bearers" in between every second line is hilarious. It's so funny because he's so unhinged with it. Like it's like he'll either be like delivering a line like, "Oh my God, Cynthia, how much I've missed stretcher bearer," and then or he'll be like freaking out, panicking, and then he just shouts it again in that same weird raspy Squidward voice. I don't know. It's a bizarre performance from a great actor.
It was, yes. I bumped up against that. I couldn't tell if it was just me, if it was just the mood I was in. Like maybe, because you do kind of get that where you're just in a bit of a weird mood, and maybe like, maybe on a better day, maybe you would, you would look for them. But seeing what you're saying and then seeing, I think I'm like, nah, maybe it wasn't the film.
No, I can't. I thought this was ass. I really did not think this movie was.
To be honest, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead of the curve here. I did give the film 2 stars, and I was like, at the time, I was like, is that too generous? I was like, I'm just going with 2. But like, to be honest, I'm almost considering whether to go lower.
Yeah, so he's got this thing with his leg. He doesn't know to begin with. Is it a result of a bite or whatever? Yeah. Or he jumped in the river to save this young guy who fell in. As a result, got attacked by a hippo. Was it that? Or was it the fact that he then got attacked by the hippo and then the young guy's blood ended up mixing into his cut? Was it that? Regardless, his leg's in a bad way. So he starts recounting, first and foremost, his breakup with a woman named Connie. I don't really get why we went back to Connie. So of the other exes, it's kind of like his serious relationships. Connie's just some screechy woman who didn't like him, and he didn't like her, and they have a big blow up, and they look really young. It's like basically, it's like if you were to take a person and recount their whole life, but the first thing you flash back to is when they went to the right venue at the age of 16. It's like, what a random place to go to first. Yeah. That's a reference for Irish people age 23 or older, I think. I don't think anyone younger than that ever went there. But then we just go back to, then we get our monologue from Leo G. Carroll, Sound the Alarm, where he gives him the gun and then he does his thing. But then our next flashback is the really super cool, hip jazz bar scene where he meets Cynthia for the first time. And this reminded me of, and I might get some flack for this because I don't know, do people do think this is cool? But I don't know if you've seen the film Funny Face. I am a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn. I think she's amazing. And I think Funny Face is comfortably the worst film that she's been in that I've seen. And I've seen a few of them. The movie is terrible, and there's an unbelievably uncool jazz bar scene in that film too, and it instantly reminded me of that, like just talking about such surface level philosophy. Like genuinely, if you were to say, women don't just belong in the kitchen, it would actually come across as like a more forward-thinking thought than some of the stuff that Gregory Peck's character is saying. He's just saying blatant misogyny to this girl, and he's kind of like, "And can you dig it?" And she's like, "Yeah, I dig." It's like, what is this? This is just so uncool and surface level. None of the, and he just keeps throwing the word poetry into every second sentence, without it actually meaning anything. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre way for these two people to meet each other and then fall head over heels in love with each other, and then we spend a lot of time with this woman Cynthia.
Yeah, and then he's like an aspiring writer, so when he meets her, he's kind of struggling. He's not doing that well. Then they get together, and then he starts to kind of eventually get more and more recognized after a little while. Then he becomes like this best selling author eventually. But yeah, like I think he partially blames her as well for the fact that he's not doing better in his career, because she doesn't necessarily want him going off to different countries to like do research and stuff like this. So that eventually,
Yeah. He says as a writer, he needs to get up and go out and see the world. He can't be a writer just by reading other people's experiences.
which is fair enough. Really.
In the 1950s, I can understand that. Yeah, 100%.
Which is okay, like fair enough. But yeah, that's essentially where things start to go sideways for them, and then there's a whole subplot then where she's pregnant, she doesn't tell him, and then when they have this big argument, she either, depending on kind of what way, if you see it from his perspective or not, she either throws herself down the stairs or faints. So yeah, and then
Yeah, that sequence itself is shot like such a migraine. I actually did have to rewind it and watch that whole sequence again to actually figure out what the fuck happened, because I thought he fell down the stairs, and then there was a terrible shot of him in bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? But yeah, no. She ends up going down the stairs, and as a result, she doesn't have the child. But just before that, we have another insane, like just, it's supposed to be like a real philosophical conversation between Cynthia and one of Harry's mates, who's a hunter who I think has maybe spent his whole life in Africa, because he's the one who like people go to when they go to Africa. And they're out hunting. She can't shoot the rhino. She does fire off a shot but doesn't kill it. Then that rhino then comes for revenge, because the rhino's the evil one in this situation, and tries to attack Harry, and then Harry shoots it clean dead. And Harry's mate and Cynthia get into this conversation, and he's like, well, to be fair, men experience adrenaline in different ways to women, and like this is dead ass meant to be like, this is like, yeah, she agrees with what he says, by the way. He's like, well, men experience adrenaline different to women, and obviously men get that feeling if like a giant rhino with horns is running towards them. Of course they're just gonna react instantly and kill the rhino. Like it's in their nature. Whereas women, well, they don't have those sort of instincts, do they? And her response to that is, I'm pregnant. It's the weirdest scene ever.
The dialogue is just so
it's
stilted.
So bizarre.
Yeah. It's
terribly. It's so stilted.
Yeah.
That is her, and that's how she delivers the line. I'm pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, like you're.
No,
I'd say.
Shut up, you dick.
I'd say you're exaggerating by like 5%, but barely. Like that's literally pretty much how she delivers the line. Yeah. It's so weird.
I'm pregnant. Like, he's just got on this. Why are you confiding in this man as well? He's the one who's being like, no wonder you're being such a wuss. Like, what? It's such a bizarre movie. But yeah, after that diatribe from that man, she gets into a heated confrontation, as Sky Sports would say, with Harry, and she says, oh, hypothetically, if we were to have kids, would you be happy? And he was like, yeah, later in life. This is the only scene where Harry has any redeemable qualities. He's like, yeah, later in life, but like, I want to travel first for my job. And then, yeah, of course I do. And she's like, so you don't want them now? And he's like, well, no, not right now, because I just told you, like, I want to, like, are we not traveling to Madrid? Like, we're going to go and see a bullfight in Madrid. Like, we're not going to have it right now. And she's like, oh, okay. And then he leaves. And then she goes out and sees the stairs. And she looks down the stairs and goes, and then we see a shot of Harry in bed asleep, but it's present day Harry. And then we go back to the past again. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
We then get a whole another relationship. So he obviously separates from God, I forget her name now. Cynthia, yes. Well,
yeah,
so
Cynthia ends up leaving him
she just leaves him,
a Spanish waiter. Sorry, a
yeah,
Spanish
which
dancer
is funny.
in a restaurant.
Which is funny. That's actually a funny scene.
Yeah.
In fairness. Good for her. But yeah, basically,
Yeah.
he then gets with this kind of aristocratic woman, Countess Liz, and that whole subplot just been that.
She's
Like,
just so fucking annoying.
that there just does not need to exist. Like, fair enough, yeah.
No.
It's a way to show you that he's obviously in a much more kind of, he's in a higher level of society now. He's fraternizing with kind of,
Again, it's the films try to like humanize this guy, but it does this in such a stilted, stupid way where he's like, "Yeah, I have so much money, and people ask me for their autographs
yeah.
and recognize me in the street, but there's just something missing, and I don't know what." Poor me. And then this woman comes in and she's like, "Hi, I went through your letters again."
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
so
why
weird.
is this film? Why is this film? And then Leo G. Carroll just shows up again,
Again,
like
for-
in the
for no
Riviera. Shows up at this woman's house. Like, how does he know where she lives? It's so funny.
It's such a weird film, man. Oh god, it's a trip.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really not, but like it's fun to talk about. But it's a terrible movie. Yeah, Leo G. Carroll shows up again, and he kind of does this whole. Basically, Leo G. Carroll just wants Gregory Peck to just go around the world shagging women and seeing the seven wonders of the world and like drinking his body weight in wine. That's all he wants for Harry. So he just basically shows up to this woman's house, and he's like, "Are you fertile to her?" And she's like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Harry, you need to get back on the hunt, lad."
In fairness,
weird.
he does take the before long. He does take the kind of hint, but yeah.
Yeah, no, he does. He does very much take the hint. But that is because we then circle back to her slipping into conversation that she went through his letters because she goes through one of his letters and turns out he has been tracking Cynthia down for God knows how long. He finally found her, somehow managed to get some sort of communication to her because she has actually replied to him finally. Funnily enough, she still lives in Madrid. And yeah, this psycho woman is like, "Well, is this letter important to you?" And he's like, well, it's not important. I think it's just a fan." He's lying to her. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she tears up the letter, like as if the fan mail doesn't matter. It's kind of weird. And I was like, what about his fans? Like, why can't they? It's so weird. But then obviously he smashes his glass on the floor in a shot that's definitely made for the trailer, and then storms out of the room. And then when she comes into the bedroom, she's like, "What's your problem?" And he's like, "You tore up that letter." Like, what the fuck? Yeah, basically he just outs her for being a bit of a nut job. And then she's like, "Oh, don't leave me. It would make me look bad." Yeah, this is a great film. This is a great film with great characters who are all memorable in their own little ways.
All very understandable motivations.
Yes, every single one of them. Every single one of them.
Yeah, so then we fast forward another few years, and he's obviously with this woman Helen now, and that's when we start to get into the crux of the, towards the end, let's say, because he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
he thinks one night that she is Cynthia. That's how he ends up with her. So great way to start your relationship.
yeah, no, yeah.
You look like my ex.
And she knows this all along, and she just gets with him anyway. Like that's a red flag.
yeah.
No, it's
She actually says that later on in the film. She was like, "You mistaken me for Cynthia like 3 times in the first week. Did you ever forgive me for not being her?" It's kind of weird on you for like not calling him out on that sooner.
Yeah.
Like once, okay, twice. Come on, like 3 times in a week.
surely, yeah.
Red flag.
Massive rip. So he's like, "Listen, I wanted to come to Kilimanjaro because I wanted to figure out the riddle of the leopard."
Yeah.
And then obviously, yeah, he gets whatever the fuck kind of condition he gets into.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, did you not just come here because you came here with Cynthia and you were happy here once?" And somehow that conversation ends with him being like, "I've never seen you in this light before. I love you so much." It's really funny. It's such a tonal shift for his character. She's just like, "Oh, but like I readjusted your schedule so that this trip could be possible. I love you so much. And I knew that you came here with your ex, but I came with you anyway. Don't you see that I love you?" And he's like, "I've never seen you in this light before. I'm obsessed with you. I love you. You're the best thing to ever happen to me, and I love you."
No.
Meanwhile, the Tanzanian lads have just stood around, equally as confused as the audience, being like, "What the fuck is actually happening with these two psychos?"
And
But
finally, then we get
she
the whole.
then
God,
she finds a book that has a whole chapter on if you can't feel your leg.
yeah. And then we get this whole. I couldn't. Are they hyenas? I don't even know what fucking animal.
Yes.
Yeah, hyenas. Yeah, I was gonna say. So then we get this whole. Fear is kind of cool. Well, cooler than anything else, pretty much, is in the movie. Where
Yes.
hyenas kind of start like stalking him almost because they can obviously sniff out his blood from his leg and. Yeah, so it's looking like oh my god, it's south. But eventually, the kind of witch doctors and the locals all band together and they kind of scare off the hyenas. And then the following morning, the helicopter arrives. I didn't even know that they had sent for a helicopter. I must have just forgotten that part.
I didn't know. No. It was a plane, but I didn't know that they had sent for one.
Plane, yeah. Like, I'm sure there must have been a line of dialogue that I wasn't paying attention to.
I'm sure that it just went over my head, I'm sure.
It wasn't made a big deal
they
of.
forgot to leave it in, which would be way funnier.
It wasn't made a big deal of if they did leave it in. But, seems they're going to be okay after all, maybe. And, yeah.
Yeah, because she's just like, oh, the plane is here to save you. And he's like, oh, I'm going to live. That's end.
It's my notes I have, poor Gregory Peck must hate us because, like, three of his worst films.
We need to do a Gregory Peck month at some point just to make up for all the terrible Gregory Peck films we've seen because he is a class actor. It's just total circumstance that we've ended up covering this and the Parodying Case and Spellbound, which isn't very good.
It's
like
not
the only
great.
good parts
It's
of
not
Spellbound are the Salvador Dali parts.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with Gregory Peck, unfortunately.
No.
Roman Holiday's great though.
Roman Holiday. You should check out that podcast episode and then check out the film.
Yeah. But that was the Snows of Kilimanjaro. I gave it 1.5 stars. This, I can't lie, I put this on. I got the I don't have it behind me because I left it in my girlfriend's, but I got the new Sherlock Holmes Book Nook Lego set, which is just so cool because it can just fit on my 4K shelf. So cool. Baker Street. There's like a little door that you twist and Moriarty's hiding behind it. It's great. And I was building that whilst watching the Snows of Kilimanjaro, and I actually found myself drifting off and then getting instructions wrong in the Lego set because of how much this movie was boring me. Even though I was actually trying to like basically do
a good job.
Subway Surfers under a TikTok. Like I was trying to fucking stimulate my brain while I was watching this boring ass movie, and I was still just zoning, staring into space, being like, oh fuck man, there's an hour left of this. But Gregory Peck's not very good in this. It's totally affected. Very Squidward performance. I do think that what is the line again? The line stretcher bearers is amazing. It's probably my favorite part of the film is him just tweaking and saying that like in between dialogue. It's really, really funny. Cynthia actually dies in that scene. We didn't even mention that. I was breaking my shit laughing, which is terrible. Because he just kept shouting stretcher bearers in that funny voice. Well done. You shot Mount Kilimanjaro and it looked beautiful.
It's like
come on, there's no way you can't do a good job shooting that mountain. It's so majestic. I don't really have much good to say about this other than like it's a feature film that exists. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are some nice shots of Mount Kilimanjaro, and the hyena scene is actually shot cool because I was expecting there's a river raft scene that looks so bad. It's so clearly green screen of them on the river raft with green screen behind them, and then you see a shot of the river, similar to the rhino scene. The hyena one, it actually looks like the hyena like might actually get in the tent. It's pretty cool. But besides that is basically all I have to say about the Snows of Kilimanjaro. Hopefully I do not meet a similar fate and not even make it past the base of the mountain. What about you, Shane? What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't. I probably didn't hate it quite as much as you, although yeah, I didn't like it at all. Gregory Peck is bad. It's nice to see Leo G. Carroll. Ava Gardner is fine in the role for what she is. Like she's not a weakness, I wouldn't say. The ending is interesting in terms of some of the shots, like you said. But I mean, yeah, very very little to go off of here. Like, yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend it. Sorry, SLC,
No.
you're our boy, but sorry.
Yeah, like goated subscriber, and we
Yeah,
appreciate the comments every single week. Amazing subscriber, but yeah. I'm assuming that the only reason this was recommended is because it was a
yeah,
financial success with
Kilimanjaro.
the name Kilimanjaro in it. That's the only reason I can think.
Yeah,
But anyway, in the meantime, I've watched a couple of movies. Have you?
yeah, I've seen two or three. Yeah,
Yeah. We're going to talk about the movies that we've watched recently. And first and foremost, oh, I have a random little list. First and foremost, I watched Baby Girl. This is a
oh yeah,
movie that I did not like nearly as much as most people. Similar to Snows of Kilimanjaro, this felt just fake and affected, and I was totally bored by the whole film. The only highlight for me was Antonio Banderas whenever he was in it. He's actually good in the film. I
yeah.
just it just didn't feel in any way genuine, and I was bored for the whole film. I'm not gonna lie. I've very little to say positively about Baby Girl other than
I have a
Antonio
hot
Banderas.
take.
He's very good. Oh yeah.
I think Nicole Kidman is a good actress, but I think she's quite overhyped. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's other actresses
Let
of
me
her,
see.
there are other actresses of her generation that I think I would rate quite a bit above her. Like I'll say
Yeah.
fair play to her. She's very prolific and she makes a great effort to like. I think she's worked with like something like 20 female directors in the last few years alone. So she's
Yeah.
clearly she puts her kind of actions where her mouth is, if you want to call it that. Like she
Yeah.
will, and fair play to her. She's really hardworking. She is talented. She's really really good in certain roles. But I just think people act, for me anyway. People talk about like she's one of the greatest in the world, and I personally don't quite see her on that level. But that's just me.
Yeah. I'd be. Yeah. I wouldn't have her. I wouldn't have her A tier. I
No,
wouldn't have her A tier. I then watched a class film called Brute Force, directed by Jules Dassin, or Jules
okay,
Dassin, if you think that he's French, but he's actually not. And it is the second ever film performance from Burt Lancaster, and my God, is he good in this film! It's also got Hume Cronin, totally against cast, as this horrendous, kind of like a male Nurse Ratchet, but in a prison, basically. It's just the way he mistreats people. At one point, a character says he only works in the prison so he can treat the prisoners like flies and he can put pins in, and it's so accurate. It's an amazing film about a prison escape, but it's directed by Jules Dassin, so it's only going to go one way. This is a film that's just like effortlessly cool. It does a really good job of establishing all the guys in uh, Lancaster's character's cell. His character's name is Collins. Everyone in Collins' cell gets their own kind of moment of sort of reflection on their life before prison, and you do kind of root for them a lot. But yeah, no, really, really great film. Directed amazingly. Couldn't recommend it enough. Very violent, very bleak. But yeah, every single film of Jules Dassin's that I've seen so far, I've really, really liked, and that's another one there. I then watched an unbelievable film. Gave it 5 stars. It is called A Cult Is My Passport. It is a 60s Japanese film. It's kind of a cross between a noir and a western, about a gun for hire, who one Yakuza gang member's son hires to execute his own dad, and then basically the whole thing goes tits up, and it was basically a conspiracy against the hitman, and it just shows how bleak and it's a very realistic depiction, I think, of the life of these people who the Yakuza were kind of hiring at the time to just kind of take people out for them, because there's basically, he says his life isn't about being on the run or moving from place to place. His life is now just about survival. From the second he took out his first hit, his life has just been about surviving it ever since, and it's amazing. Joe Shishido is so cool in this film. There's loads of action sequences that are amazing, but just the ending is so cool. Rocking up to the final showdown, in like a 20v1 with a golf bag with filled with shotguns and dynamite is just so tough. And the music in this film is amazing as well. And as well, just a little moment of realism from my realism fans out there. One of the coolest things I've seen from my realism fans out there is when he goes to take a shot with a sniper, he lights a cigarette, inhales it, holds a cigarette out, and sees what way the cigarette smoke is blowing, so he can use that for like assisted aim, basically, to see what way the wind's blowing. Yeah. It's so tough. It's so cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's such a cool film. There's so many moments like that of realism that are just so refreshing, and yet the film came out in 1967. And lastly, I watched American Movie. I don't know if you've seen American Movie.
No.
It is so great. It is a documentary from the 1990s. Funnily enough, directed by the same guy that directed the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary. But Chris Smith. Basically about this independent filmmaker in the 90s called Mark, who wants to make his first feature film, and it's really interesting. It's just I can see it becoming a bit of a comfort film, because I saw one review of it which is so fair, it's so accurate, which is, if you see this documentary as exploitative in its nature, then that's actually a shame on you, because I, the whole time, was rooting for Mark. I just wanted him to get that feature film done. You can just tell the guy is brimming with passion for film, and like even just the negatives and the shots that we do see that he had taken for his various short films and this feature film, he's fairly competent with a camera, I can't lie. But it's a great documentary. I couldn't recommend it enough. It's for people who are, if you like movies, I strongly recommend, if you've ever tried to make a movie, I would strongly recommend that you watch American Movie. It's on Prime, and it is amazing. And his friend Mike just seems like the sweetest soul. He just seems like a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And there's a scene where he has to record. He's like so quiet and reserved, and then there's just this one random scene where they're recording audio for a scene, and they need someone to do a really high pitched shriek, and somehow Mike is the guy who does it, and he just does it so well, and it's just like, wow, this man is so talented, because he also composed the music for the documentary. So good on you, Mike. But American Movie is fantastic. One of my favorite documentaries I've probably ever seen. Anyone, like, I can't stress it enough, anyone who likes movies or has any interest in making movies or the process of making movies should see American Movie. It's so great. Love it. And that's everything I've watched recently. What about you?
Yeah, thanks for the recommendation. Speaking of another recommendation from, I think, last week or the week before you gave, so I was in the mood for something a bit like light and comedic and frothy, so I was like, I'm going to check out Young and Innocent. Harry seemed to quite like it. I didn't like it as much as you did, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it was as funny as I was expecting based on your review. Now it's entertaining enough. It's like a more comedic, lighthearted version of his Wrong Man approach. So guess what? It's a guy accused of murder he didn't commit. It's an Alfred Hitchcock film, in other words. But yeah, like, it's the romance is well done, and I think there's some really nice shots. There's one like kind of the camera pans around in like a ballroom, and it pushes in then on the actual killer. Now there is blackface in that scene, which isn't great, but what I will say is it's not like, blackface is never like necessary, let's say, but at least in this case, it's like it's used as a disguise. You know what I mean? It's kind of used as
Yeah.
the killer hiding in plain sight. And obviously they aren't able to recognize him because he's wearing blackface. So at least from that point of view, it's not like there's at least a narrative reason for him to be in blackface.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. Like I've seen worse Hitchcock films, to be sure. What else? I saw Rafifi. So this is a film I've been banging on about wanting to watch for a while. Actually, you just mentioned Jules Dassin. Yeah, it's class.
So
it's
class.
It's so great.
So class.
Love the heist genre. Love the heist genre. And like this is way up there as one of my favorite heist films. So the heist itself, first of all, it takes its time getting to the heist, which is amazing. And like you can really tell, like it gives a reason for all four of the players to actually be there. Like I love when a heist film goes to the effort of, you have like your, let's say your safe cracker, you have like your kind of your master strategist, you have this, you have that. It's not just a bunch of people cobbled together with none, like they're just there for
I was gonna say, do you know what we need to review? Because I've not seen it and you haven't seen it, and it's definitely a film we need to cover on the podcast. I don't know if we do a heist month or something, but we need to do the original Ocean's 11, because I've seen a YouTube video of someone who reviewed it, and they basically just said that like 9 of the guys do nothing. They just stand in the room in suits. It's like basically the opposite of Rafifi. It's so not economical. It's like there's one guy who's a master strategist and one guy who's a safecracker and 9 famous people. It's really funny.
But yeah, no, I love so. And then the actual heist itself, right? There's not a single line of dialogue. I hope this isn't a spoiler. I don't think it is. I've seen reviews where it says this. People say this anyway. So apologies if like you think this is a bit of a spoiler. But basically, there's not a single line of dialogue. There's not a single musical note of any kind, whether like as kind of a score or whatever like that. It's literally just shot in complete and utter silence, and it's one of the most gripping and tense and like. Just impressively shot things I've seen in a long time. There's this brilliant. They're well, I'm not gonna say. Basically, they need an umbrella as a prop at one point, and the way it's used, this umbrella is just so genius. Oh, it's an amazing film. And then once the heist is over, then it becomes like more of a crime thriller. So it's like, right, so whether they got away with the heist or not, let's say there's other interested parties. So I won't spoil what goes on at the end of the film. At the end of the film, then it just becomes more of a regular kind of 60s almost French thriller, and that's just as impressive in its own right. So you almost have, it's almost working. It's a brilliant film on 2 different genres. Oh, it's an amazing film, brilliant film. Rafifi.
Is that your first Jules Dassin film?
I think so. Yeah, I believe so.
He's so class.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out.
He's
Definitely
so
want to
class.
check out more stuff after this. Yeah, it's amazing. Proof you don't need necessarily like, as much as I love, like I think a lot of modern heists use like really fast paced editing and great camera work, and like it's just a lot of like glitz and glamour. Like the Ocean's film is a perfect example. Absolutely adore them. Soderbergh's a genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. But this is also proof you don't need that stuff to make a great heist thriller. You just need a great plan, a brilliant execution of a plan, a brilliant conception of a plan, all that stuff. So amazing film. Deep Cover, then the final one that I saw. I did
With Forrest Whitaker?
No, Deep Cover. So this is just came out actually on Prime Video.
Oh,
yeah.
I really want to watch the Forrest Whitaker one.
Yeah.
So sorry, it's not Forrest Whitaker.
So this is it's actually an interesting premise. It's a fun little conceit. So this is 3 improv comics get recruited by the police to do undercover work because they're quick on their feet. They're quick at
Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum. That's the one I wanted to see.
So yeah, it's 3 improv comics played actually by Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, and Nick Mohammed, are recruited by the Metropolitan Police to basically do like odd jobs here and there, kind of trying to take down small fry criminals. So like they get like £200 per job, basically like say counterfeit cigarettes or black market cigarettes, whatever you call it, stuff like that kind of thing. So small fry stuff, but because they're quick on their feet and they're a bit understaffed, the police are like, right, well, let's just get these people in, they can help us, and we can. It's actually a fun little conceit. So Orlando Bloom, I'm not the biggest Orlando Bloom fan. Like he's been fine with some stuff. I don't hate the guy or anything, but like I always kind of think even in Lord of the Rings, he's just kind of there. Like I don't have a big opinion of him one way or the other. You know what I mean? But I will say he's really good in this. He plays this guy who's known for famous pizza ads, and that's all he's known for. So like he's an actor. He thinks of himself as this like method actor. He's a really serious method actor. He wants to be known. He wants to be the next Al Pacino and stuff, but just takes himself way too seriously. So it's really funny when he's getting into character and he's coming up with this insane backstories, and some of his improv characters. Really really funny stuff. Nick Mohammed is doing basically the Nick Mohammed role. Let's be honest. Like he kind of has one role, but he's really good at it. Really really good at it. This is Nate from Ted Lasso, in case anyone doesn't know. Really funny guy, but yeah, he kind of plays the same role over and over again. But it's fun. It's funny for what it is, and he's good at playing that kind of role. Couple of fun little twists and turns along the way. So yeah, it's fine for what it is. A decent kind of comedy that you could switch on for an hour and a half if you're looking for something to watch and you're a bit bored. And, yeah, I think it's worth a watch anyway if you're kind of in the mood for a more recent comedy. Yeah, that's what I watched. Actually, I want to mention, I started a show a few months ago called The Agency, star-studded cast, Michael Fassbender, Catherine Waterston, John McGarrow, Jeffrey Roy, Richard Gere, Dominic West. There's so many actors in this. Based on a French series called Les Légendes des Bourreaux. Sorry, I'm really bad French. Les Légendes des Bourreaux. So it's basically like a kind of a spy thriller. This is apparently a really, really great French series. And after watching this, I ended up going back to it a few days ago and kind of binged the whole thing in like 2 days. Really great. Mm-hmm. It gets better and better as it goes. It's a really slow burner at the start, but once you get into it, it's got its hooks in me. I'll be honest, it properly just reeled me in, and brilliant ending. Season 2 has already been commissioned. So sorry, I know this is a TV show, but basically, if you're in the mood for a new series to watch, yeah, I highly recommend The Agency. I think it's a bit of a slow burner at the start, but once you get into it, I think you're going to be really hooked like I was. So yeah, check that out as well.
Cool. Class. Next week, I can see that my camera is struggling. I'm just going to get into it. Next week, we're covering a Stanley Kubrick film for the first time ever on the podcast. It is Paths of Glory, one that I've never seen before. Had you seen it before?
No, I've seen it for the podcast, but no, I hadn't seen it before that. No.
Yeah. Class. Well, I am very much looking forward to it because I've never seen it before, and I'll probably tuck into a few more early Kubrick films in between now and then. But in the meantime, thank you very much. I've been Harry Bailey.
I've been Shane.
And yeah, feel free to donate to the link in the description, and leave a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube, and give us 5 stars on Spotify if you're listening there. Goodbye.